Okay, class, so you should already have out your homework and a pen, hopefully, right? At this point, there should be no more writing in pencil. You can correct anything, but this definitely should have been done yesterday. So going through, I'm going to sort of work them out here so you can check, not just hear the answers. So that way, if you did have questions, you'll be able to get those answered and fixed. So numbers 1 through 4 were given information with M and a B. So specifically on 1, 2, and 3, that information is pretty straightforward. So we're just going to plug into y equals mx plus b form is what we should be using on these top ones. So number 1, if we're just plugging in, we should say y equals 4x minus 2. Number 2, we should have y equals 1/2 x. That could also be y equals 1/2 x plus 0. Number 3, y equals 0x plus 3, but you could also have that as y equals 3. Then number 4 goes to our undefined slope. So for here, we should have x equals 2. Okay, then we jump into ones where we need to do more work with writing the equation of the line. So on number 5, we should have plugged into point slope form. Sorry, I should have given you more room here, but we'll say y minus 7 equals 3 times x minus 2. So we'll distribute. Then we will add the 7 to each side, and we'll get a final answer of y equals 3x plus 1. Number 6, we plug this into point slope form. So we should have y minus -5 equals -4 times x minus -3. Those double negatives make a positive. So then we will distribute. So this will be a -4x minus 12. And we will undo adding 5 by subtracting 5. And we'll get y equals -4x minus 17. Now, as we get into this next chunk, we have a few more fractions and things happening here, I think. So let's take a look at that, make sure we're okay with our math here. So number 7, the first thing that we need to do is we need to actually find the slope. So we should be doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 2 negatives make a positive. So this one, our slope is just 1. I'm going to pick the point 1 comma 2. You could have picked a different point. So we'll plug that into point slope form. So I'll say y minus 2 equals 1 times x minus 1. I'll distribute, which will give me 1x minus 1. I'll then add 2 to each side, and I'll get y equals 1x plus 1. Number 8, again, we will find the slope first. So 0 minus 5 over 0 minus 3 gives us a -5 over -3, which simplifies to a positive 5/3. I'm going to pick the point 0, 0 because 0 is going to be a lot easier to work with. So we'll say y minus 0 equals 5/3 times x minus 0. So we distribute, that will give us 5/3 x minus 0. Adding a 0 over doesn't do us a whole lot of good, and so our final answer is just y equals 5/3 x. If you left that plus 0 or minus 0 on the end, that is fine as well. Number 9, again, we're starting by finding the slope. So -8 minus -2 over 9 minus 4. So we get a -6 on top. 9 minus 4 is 5. So we have a slope of -6/5. I'm going to pick the point 4 comma -2. So y minus -2 equals -6/5. times x minus 4. Those two negatives make a positive. So we'll have negative 6/5 x. Okay, when we distribute here, I'm guessing the majority of you used your calculator. Okay, so I just want to remind you here, if you're doing negative 6/5 times negative 4, okay, so it's a positive 4 4/5. Don't let those fractions freak you out. Use your calculator to help you. Leave that in your calculator so that when you subtract that 2, right, we can just put minus 2 in our calculator and it will give us a positive 2 4/5. Oops, so we'll get y equals negative 6/5 x plus 2 4/5. Number 10, slope first, so negative 5 minus negative 4 over 6 minus 6. On top we'll have negative 1. On the bottom we'll have 0. So remember, when we get 0 on the denominator, this tells us that our slope is undefined. And as soon as we know that our slope is undefined, everything else stops. We are putting x equals, and our x value in this problem is 6. So we should have x equals 6. Okay, then we'll look at our graphs on the back. Number 11, we had a good y-intercept. We had a good y-intercept, so our y-intercept was negative 5. So we have b equals negative 5. We'll then calculate our slope. So our slope is down 1, right 2. So we went down 1. So if we're going down, that's a negative. So our slope is going to be a negative 1 over 2. So then when we plug this in for our final equation, y equals negative 1/2 x minus 5. Number 12, we have a vertical line. A vertical line is always undefined slope, so we should go straight to x equals. It crosses right here at 5, so we should say x equals 5. Number 13, we do not have a good y-intercept. So if we don't have a good y-intercept, we need to find our slope. So it's up 3 over 1. Then we also need a point. So this is the point 1, 4. And that gives us enough information to plug into point slope form. So y minus 4 equals 3 times x minus 1. So we'll distribute, which will give us a 3x minus 3. Okay, then we'll move that 4 over, and we'll have y equals 3x plus 1. Okay, same thing on 14. We do not have a good intercept happening here. So we're going to need to find the slope, so we can find it either way, but it will go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2. So if you counted the other way, it's fine. Okay, but I did move left, so I'm going to have a negative 5 over 2. And then I need to name a point. So maybe I'll name the point negative 2, negative 1. Make sure you are naming the point correctly. Often my students will miss this because they don't name the point correctly. So if we plug this in, y minus negative 1 equals negative 5/2 times x minus negative 2. Those will turn into positives. Then we will distribute, so negative 5/2 x. Okay, then we'll take that negative 5 times the 2, negative 5/2 times the 2, which will give us minus 5. Let's see, I messed up a value here. What did I mess up, guys? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Okay, so you get to watch me fix this. It can't be -6, right? Because it crosses at -6 over here at the... Oh, sorry, guys. I named this point wrong to start with. This is the point -1, -1. So this should be a -1. So all of you who are watching the video going, wait, Mrs. McKinney, that can't be right. You were right. It can't actually be right. So let's correct this here. So I'm going to write in a different color over it. So when we do -5/2 times +1, it will give us a -5/2. Okay, -5/2 is the same thing. You could also have that as 2.5 or 2 1/2 is probably what most of you have it as. So then we'll do 2 1/2 minus 1, which will really give us -3.5. Okay, so our final equation would be y equals -5/2 x minus 3 1/2. This is what I get for staying late at school Tuesday before break to make a video. So y equals -5/2 x minus 3 1/2. Okay, we are grading this for participation. So if you completed them all, give yourself a 4 out of 4. I am also going to be checking in Canvas that you completed the quiz as part of your homework. That was part of the check yesterday. It is already closed, so you cannot complete it at this point. If you were absent, you just need to make this up and complete it. Then what's going to happen is they sort of flip-flop days. So after this video is over, you're going to be getting your review packet for your quest that is happening on Thursday. Okay, you need to be spending class time working on it. You know how to do everything in the packet. It is 17 questions, so realistically, you should be able to finish it. If you have major questions or you're stuck on something, we will have time to go over that between tomorrow and class time before we start the quest on Thursday. Okay, but it is going to be due at the start of class time on Thursday. So you need to work on that, make sure you're ready to go. We are going to add some new things when I'm back on Wednesday. Okay, but this way you don't have to do more new information with the sub, and I'll take care of teaching the rest of the new information to you on Wednesday when I get back. Have a great rest of the day. Work on your review packets. I will see you on Wednesday.